Hello, and welcome to my first video from a series that I'm going to call Retrospective. It's probably not the most original name, but it's the name that keeps sticking in my head when I was trying to decide what to call this series. My plan for this series is to take a look back at some of the games that I've played over the years and that have stuck in my head, maybe dive a little bit into the background of them and take a look at some of the gameplay. And so with that in mind, it's only right that we start with my earliest gaming memory, Sonic the Hedgehog. So starting with a fun fact about Sonic is exactly 1 year younger than me, with my birthday being the 23rd of June 1989, and Sonic's given birthday being the 23rd of June 1990, a date that was decided to be his birthday by Yuji Naka, the former head of the Sonic team and lead programmer for the original Sonic games on the Sega Mega Drive, or the Genesis if you're from America. So while my parents did have a Sega Master System, I don't really remember that system, and so my earliest memories are for the Mega Drive, a console which kept me entertained for many years until I moved on to the PlayStation 1. We've got a whole load of games to get through before we get to that point. My parents bought the Sega Mega Drive bundle that came with 2 controllers and Sonic the Hedgehog included. They actually still have this console. I believe it's currently living with my sister, but it is still going strong today. It even came with a cool promotional poster which spent many years on my bedroom wall. I've grabbed a copy of this from sonicretro.org. They've got an amazing high-res scan that they recommend that you can even get printed out and framed on the wall. That I might actually be doing. So before we look too much into the gameplay, where did Sonic come from? Well, Sonic began development in 1990 when Sega ordered its developers to create a game featuring a mascot for the company. Mega Drive had already been around for a few years at this point, having been released in Japan in October 1988, North America in August 1989, and Europe in September 1990. Sega had had some success with console ports of their arcade games, but they wanted a stronger product to go up against their main competitor Nintendo, who were already well established with Mario as a brand. So in 1988, Sega of Japan had an in-house competition to find a rival to Mario. The programmers and designers worked on a brand character for the next 3 years, and so the developers came up with a blue hedgehog and named themselves the Sonic Team to match their new character. Prior to this, they had used Alex Kidd as their mascot, but he was deemed to be too similar to Mario, and this was not acceptable. So once the design of the character was settled upon, Sega turned to Yuji Naka, who had previously worked on Phantasy Star and the Mega Drive port of Ghosts and Ghouls. Naka was a fan of the Super Mario Bros. Series, but he wanted something faster, so Sonic was designed from the ground up to always have speed in mind. Sonic was successful, and became Sega's icon for many years. On the Mega Drive alone, there was 3 more sequels to the original game, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Sonic & Knuckles, and then all the other countless spin-offs such as Sonic Spinball, Sonic 3D Blast, Knuckles Chaotix on the 32X, Sonic CD for the Mega CD. Even the bad guy Dr. Robotnik got his own game, with Mean Bean Machine. These games have remained so popular that over the years, they've been ported to almost every platform you can imagine. The original Sonic the Hedgehog has found its way onto the Game Boy Advance, the Wii Virtual Console, the Xbox Live Arcade, iOS, Android. Even some special edition came out on the 3DS with some additional 3D depth, much like Nintendo did to some of their own games. So let's take a look at some of the gameplay of Sonic the Hedgehog. Now while this game is simplistic in its nature, it took me some time to be able to complete it on my own. I can remember having to get my mum to help me with several of the underwater levels, especially the boss at the end of Labyrinth Zone, and also quite often the final boss in the appropriately named Final Zone. So the game is split into 6 zones with 3 acts in each. The 3rd act in each zone also contain a boss fight. There is a 7th zone, the previously mentioned Final Zone, but that is just a single boss fight. Boss fights are always against Sonic's main rival Dr. Robotnik, or Dr. Eggman if you're from the US, a name which to this day I still refuse to call him. He always rocks up in his floating ship with various weapons attached, and for some reason he's never found a way to make his ship immune to a hedgehog spinning and jumping at it. Your typical evil scientist, I suppose, they always have their flaws. The gameplay is relatively simple. As a 2D side-scroller, you have to run at high speed through the levels that contain springs, slopes, bottomless pits, spikes, loops, as well as a bunch of enemies, or botniks as they were called. Your only attack is the spin that Sonic performs whilst jumping, and your health as such was determined by holding rings which are scattered throughout the levels. Holding one ring would allow you to take a hit, and then you drop all of your collected rings. Passing the end of a level goal holding 50 or more rings allowed you a chance to access a special stage, which grew in difficulty and always provided a level of frustration. Picking up 100 rings would grant you an additional life. Within the special stage, collecting 50 rings would grant an additional continue, which was essentially a life within a life, lifeception if you will. Running out of all your lives would send you to a continue screen, with no continues back to the title screen. Games were brutal years ago, no saves or reloads. However, in my recent stream on Twitch, I definitely had to utilise the level select menu quite a few times. Turns out, I'm not actually that good at this game anymore. But for me, one of the most iconic things about these games is not just the characters or the level design, it's the soundtrack. The opening bars of Green Hill Zone will provide a massive nostalgia hit for so many people, and it instantly takes me back to those early years of completing this game over and over again. So if you've somehow never played this game in any of its forms, I would highly recommend you do so. Some of the newer variations of the game do include some quality of life features that the original didn't, such as save progression and the spin dash feature that was actually included from Sonic 2 onwards. But either way, it is such a great game and it's an absolute icon of the side-scrolling platform era. So if you've made it this far into my little recap and brief history of Sonic, then I thank you very much for spending your time with me. With it being the first of these videos, I hope that I've got the length and the format about right, but your feedback is much appreciated. I would love to hear some of your memories of this game, or other games that you have earliest memories of in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more of these in the future. An edited version of the Twitch playthrough will also be uploaded soon, so if you want to see more gameplay, fails, and likely countless amounts of cursing, then be sure to check that out. Also find me live on Twitch Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays, and often over the weekend. I'm hoping to make the Saturdays a regular time to be streaming some retro content that will form the basis of these retrospectives. With that in mind, see you next time!